Well, it's another day being back on this project. We got another $500 CPU. We got a Diet Beppis. And we got a whole bunch of more shit that I've been waiting on for a very long time. And we got the Aquero. I did invest in RGB splitting technology, fan splitters, G1/4 temp probe. Got some fittings, got some more fittings. So, yeah, we're pretty well set on parts right now. So, I'm going to go ahead and get all my things that, I got going on here set up. Apologize, I'm not going to demonstrate a lot of it, but I'll kind of update you as I get along. All right, well, as you can see, I got my Quero and my splitty, don't mind these cables, mounted up onto this piece of 1/8 inch, is it 1/8 inch or 16th? I don't remember. Anyway, it's thin enough that I can get bolts and screws through. It's not like the most solid thing in the world, but, you know, it doesn't have to hold up to a, you know, 9.0 earthquake. As you can see, I've got it tied into the where the hard drive mounts would go. I don't know what thread pitch that is, but you know, it's one of these. So yep, that's in there. I got it connected to a Splitty 9 via Aquabus. The Aquabus cable is like, it's like 70 centimeters or something stupid like that. It is absolutely ginormous, but yeah, well, I got her connected. So this is basically where all my fans are gonna go. There and some there. And this is your Aquabus header there. Get a Molex power there. If you ever, you know, you got a whole bunch of shit going on in your water cooling setup, you want to, you know, do a little bit of homework on this thing, because not everything is 100% compatible. Perfect example, your D5 pumps, it has to be this exact D5. You can't use anything else. It has to be this D5 pump, specifically made to work in conjunction with the Quero. I almost bought the wrong pump, and I guess it has to have some kind of a proprietary PWM signal for it to work properly. I don't know. I think that's kind of bullshit, but you know, that's kind of just how it is. Anyway, I'm going to take this back out. I'm going to pull the Quero and the splitty off of there, and I'm going to scuff this up, give it a little bit of rattle can, and make it look nice and purty like. Also got the Alpha Cool RGB splitter sort of mocked up. They give you the world's shittiest Velcro to try to put this thing up there, and I'm probably just going to fucking hot glue the thing straight to this back panel here, and then do everything else accordingly. Also got all my top fans sleeved and ready to go. I already have them fit up to the radiator here. As you can see, I have the 8-way PWM splitter again. I sleeved all these cables myself, and that was not a whole lot of fun, but I got her done, and she don't look half bad. And so the idea here is I'm gonna have that fan splitter, and then I'm gonna have one singular fan cable coming off of there. I made this, ain't she purty? And that's gonna plug into one fan header, because I sure as shit am not plugging 16 different fans all into different splitters. That is just, I am not doing that. I know it looks like I ain't made a whole lot of progress, but I absolutely definitely have. I got the CPU plus the water block. You probably saw me install the Thermalright, I think it's Thermalright, the contact frame for LGA 1700. Also got the new EK water block installed. I'm not doing, I'm not delidding it. I just want to get this project underway, and I now have my tubes mocked up for this distribution plate. So I got 3 of them done so far. They're pretty much dry, so I feel comfortable touching them. So yep, I'm using 1/2 inch copper piping, and then join them together. I basically use the exact same method you would use with PETG or any other kind of solid tubing, except it's, you know, it's copper. And basically what I do is use Loctite to join the pieces together. I give them a little bit of scuff, wipe them down with some acetone, and then I'll give them some clear coat. And that's pretty much it for that. You just let them sit here to dry for a few hours, and then you can installate them. But as you can see, obviously I showed you the top rad that I have sleeved. I still have not touched the front or the side, and I think I'm gonna get on that next just to get it all knocked out and out of the way. All right, so you just saw me sleeve up one fan here. Just give you an idea of what's going on here. So, as I said earlier, I put all my fan controllers on the bottom, either the bottom or the top of the rad. Sometimes I'll even put it on the side of the rad. Basically anywhere where it's not seen. That's gonna be perfectly fine. But what I've got going on here is with these Gentle Typhoons, and what makes them so awesome is, focus, come on. Aha, there we go. Okay, so you have a signal wire, that's the yellow one. You have your ground wire, which is the black, and obviously your power voltage, your positive, which is indicated as red. So, and if you ever get, you know, confuciated, you know, you got VGS, signal, ground, voltage, I'm guessing. I mean, these things are made in Vietnam. So anyway, so what I do is when they come on this, you know, ketchup mustard deal, I'll put them in position, and then, well, first what I do is I'll go in and peel up this label here. I'll put a little bit of flux on each of these pads here, and then desolder them, pull the wire out. There's a little plastic clip there. You just take a couple of take a pair of needle nose pliers, and you just pull that out, and then you can fish the wires up through here. So then you desolder them, pull the wires off, and I reuse what came on the fans wherever possible. Obviously, as you go further up the rad, it's, you know, it ain't possible. So that's what this is for. So what I do is desolder them, pull them out, and then I use my flush cuts to cut a chunk out of both sides here. Then what I do is I'll put the fan in place with the wires pulled off, and it's somewhere right there. And then I'll plug in the connector to where it's going to go, which in this case is right here, furthest one away. And then I'll measure exactly where it's going to go, right to here, and then hold that spot, and then oof, the rest of the way, go from the frame of the fan back to the pads. And then I measure that off, and then I cut it. And then what I'll do is I will strip, or no, I won't strip the ends of the wire off. I'll measure off an amount of this. This is MDPCX. It is the best cable sleeving on the market, period. I mean, you can use paracord. I've used paracord in the past with moderate success, but I much prefer this stuff. It's so much easier to work with. But I'll measure however much I need to get up to roughly around here, and then I'll cut it off, and then I use my heat shrink tool. You need to get you one of these if you're doing cable sleeving. These things are awesome. So these things don't produce a naked flame. They just produce raw heat through that heat diffuser. And for the longest time I did, you know, with a Bic lighter, I did heat shrink and, you know, such and so forth with a naked flame, and that's just not the way to go. You want a controlled amount of heat. So I'll singe the end here so that it doesn't get all strung and spaghetti like, and I'll do the same thing for either ends. And then I'll stretch my sleeving over the cable, and then I'll cut out some of this heat shrink tubing. This is MDPCX heat shrink. You can tell because it doesn't have any markings, manufacturer's markings. Again, you don't have to use MDPCX for that, but I like it because this is very, very high quality heat shrink, and you can fit it right over that connector, and it'll shrink down real nice and good over that sleeving, and it'll hold it really tight, which is what you want. So I'll cut off 2 pieces of the sleeving. It's I kind of just eyeball it. There's no rhyme or reason to it, but like, I don't know, 3/4 to an inch. I'll stretch it over the connector, and I'll start shrinking it down over top of the connector first, and then I'll go down onto the sleeving. And then once that's all shrunk down and cooled off just a little bit, I'll go along like this and stretch the sleeving real nice and tight against the cable. And then I'll take my other piece of sleeving, stretch that over the end, over the wires, shrink that all down, and then I will strip the ends off of the wires and resolder them. And with the Gentle Typhoons, again, why they're awesome is you have these 2 slots where you can put a zip tie in there, and because these are going to be sitting against the frame of the rad mount there, you want to have the latching mechanism of that zip tie about right there. You don't want to have it on this side because it's gonna, you know, keep you from being able to really cinch it down onto that bracket. And then yep, that's pretty much how that works. You have a perfectly measured, you know, fan cable, and you just go on down the line, and that's pretty much all there is really to it. Oh, and by the way, the wire here, this is 22 gauge 4-conductor wire. I buy this by the spool because I use it all the time for all kinds of different things. But yeah, and you know, it's 4-conductor wire, so you just, you know, peel off. It's like fruit roll-ups, you know, you just peel it off, and or like Twizzlers. Yeah, Twizzlers. That's a much better analogy. You just peel off the one conductor that you don't need. I have an entire box full of them right here, so that, you know, if I need to use them later, I can. And so, yep, I'm just going to go ahead and bang out this radiator. I'm also going to do the rad in the bottom there in pretty much the exact same fashion. and I'm gonna get those put back in. And that, my friends, is one fully built out 480 millimeter rad with custom fan cables. No stupid splitters, no really ugly extensions, no ketchup mustard. Just, you know, fully perfect length. Everything looks right, and it all comes out to one single header, which I have this power supply rigged up here, cobbled together for 3-pin usage. Let's see how we do. Yoink. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, just look at them ripping away. See how much airflow we get here. Oh yeah. You can probably hear it through the camera. That's a lot of airflow. All right, let's shut that off. Yeah. Yeah, these babies push a lot of air and they are absolutely dead silent too. So, oh, these things, I forgot to mention these. These are these 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch cable management tie downs. If I remember, I'll throw a link down where you can get these off of Scamazon. They're really cheap and they're really low profile. They're hard to see, and they make cable management a hell of a lot easier. But yeah, as one 480 mil radiator fully built out. Still got one more to do. I'm going to do that off camera. I'm not going to bore you with that. It's done. I know I failed you guys. I should have told you, you know, all the process and everything, all the bullshit that I had to do to get this thing all set up. But at the end of the day, you know, I got a second wind in me. I got a lot of stuff done. One thing led to another, and before I knew it, she was completely finished by that point. You know, it is really not a whole lot you can do. And, you know, and by the way, if you're wondering why that's off, like, I got the panels set up there. Yeah, I know. Taking pictures. Some glam shots. So, let's see how she fires up here. Got all the RGBs all set up and everything. Can you just, like, not play that music? Please, thank you. Okay, so I had to let the neighbor drive off with their stupid gay ass pop music. Anyway, yep, she's all filled out and she's plumbed and ready to go. And again, I'm sorry, like I know, I didn't show you the build process, you know, I didn't show you like, you know, all the shit, you know, look how good it looks. Look how good it looks. I've got AquaSuite all set up. I got all my fans tuned. Got all the stuff ready to go. Got my cables in. I tried to do the best I could with this cable. It just wasn't cooperating. So, you know, it's kind of just going to hang out there like that. And, you know, I tried out the RGB and it's kind of growing on me. Kind of like it. So I'm probably going to keep it. I mean, I did all the effort to make it work and make it happen, so you know, I might as well. But as we can see, these side fans are working, the front fans are working. You can kind of sort of see them through the light. Top fans are working. Oh, look at the diesel and gas jugs and the transmission in the background. Let me give you some light up in this bitch. Where did I put the light? Where did I put the light? Oh yeah, I left it up there. Extra lighting. Anyway. Yeah, getting fingerprints off all of this brushed aluminum is a pain in the ass. So we're pretty much all cable managed back here. You can see the RGB splitter is in place. Got all of the cables. I couldn't sleeve the RGB cables, which kind of pisses me off, but you know, whatever. I also didn't sleeve the front panel cables. And this is what we got going on down here. You can kind of sort of see the red on the Molex, but we'll just pretend it's not there. I might actually get another cable adhesive thing like I got going on right there, and I'll probably put one up there so it looks all nice and purty like. Anyway, yep, the Aquero is all set up. I ended up not using the splitty in the back for the Aquabus, but I still have it connected. It wasn't recognizing the splitty as an Aquabus device, even though I have it literally configured as an Aquabus device. Dog hair. And they tell you that you can connect it as an Aquabus device, and obviously you can't. That is the Be Quiet power supply. Got a little bit of dust going on there. I haven't dusted this back compartment yet. But yep, this is back compartment all finished up and ready to go. Yeah, I decided to pull off the front and top panels just so you can see the sheer magnitude of what the hell's going on up in here. So yeah. So up in the front here, I decided to put a temp sensor right there as an intake. I'd also put another one up there, and this is almost touching that. This is almost touching the fan. God damn it. I'll fix that later. But that's air exhaust temp. And then over here in this gob of bullshit there, that is also a temp sensor. Hopefully it gets out of that mode. Yeah, this camera kind of sucks sometimes. But yeah, I have a liquid temp sensor in line there, and that's doing its thing. And yeah, all three of those temp sensors you can see are hooked into the temp section there. And I've taken the liberty to sleeve all of these cables, including the Molex, and I've got, I got so many cables down here. Cable managing this thing was a fucking nightmare. Like, this ain't my proudest work, don't get me wrong, but to be completely honest, like, this was seriously the best I could do at the time. But yeah, over here, like right next to the power supply, you can see like what's going on. Like, look, all that bundle of wires is going to the Aquero, and I even have another bundle going off and over there just so it's out of the way. But before I get to, you know, blabbing on too much about how difficult and blah, blah, blah this was, we'll start with the plumbing of, you know, how the cooling system works. So up over here we have a fill port which goes into the reservoir, goes into pump 1, and these two pumps are in series, so they work together to push, you know, coolant all throughout the waterworks. I have that going into a 14 millimeter extension fitting, and then that goes into a Bits Power, what do they call that? I think they call it an aqua pipe, a link pipe, so you can extend it, you know, a variable amount. And I did that because, you know, you can't realistically put a fitting or a pipe into there like I could there. It's just, it's not enough room. These copper pipes are not, they're not flexible, basically, is what I'm getting at. So that's going into a Bits Power rotary 90, into a Bits Power 15 millimeter extension, and then that goes straight into the basement. Now we're here in the back, and so that fitting right there is what that what came out of the pumps and into that extension. Comes down to here. We have a copper T, a street elbow, and a compression fitting which on sits our drain valve. This is an Alpha Cool drain valve. I kind of, you know, went with a lot of Alpha Cool stuff here. So it goes from the T into the front rad, up out of the front rad, and then it goes all the way across, and behind the power supply, you're not going to be able to see it very well, but there's another 90 that, come on, let's see if I can focus it here, that goes into this side rad, and then it comes all the way around, exits that side rad, goes over here, enters this particle filter, which I don't think it's caught anything just yet, but you know, I ain't gonna hold my breath on that. Goes out of that particle filter, up and into the mid plate. So then the mid plate fitting is right there, and then it meanders around, catches air bubbles like a son of a bitch. I like, this has been like a week later and I still haven't been able to get this out. And then eventually goes into here. Now, the intended routing from Singularity Computers is to go from here straight into there. However, that's a little bit tight, and it was quite literally impossible. I mean, you can shift this thing side to side this way, but then it wouldn't have lined up with that port there, and it would have created interference problems with my front rad and bracket, and it just wasn't possible. Take my word for it. So I took the easy way out and did a double 90 up into the graphics card, and then it goes through the graphics card, out of the graphics card, into there, comes out of there, into the CPU block, out of the CPU block, back into the distribution plate. And then I have, once again, another one of these Bits Power extendable fittings that's going into a Bits Power rotary 90, and then that's going into a Corsair, I think it's Corsair. Is it Corsair or EK? I can't remember. But anyway, I had to shave this down. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I had to shave that down by like a couple of millimeters so that it actually lined up with this port there. And then that's going from that extension into the temp sense fitting. And from that temp sense fitting, it's going into this rotary offset fitting. XSPC was pretty much the only option that was in stock at the time, and so that's going into the top rad. Now the top rad is a crossflow rad, so it's going all the way across the 60 millimeter thick ass radiator, and then it's coming out of there 90, 90, and then the circle of life continues. Hello. And basically, long story longer, you know, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of grunt work. It was a lot of disassembly. It was a lot of putting shit back together, taking it apart, seeing if it fits. Oh shit, it doesn't fit. Take it apart, order something, put it back together. It fits, but something else is incompatible. If you do custom water cooling, you know just as well as I do just how painful this process is. But I eventually persevered and, you know, pulled through. And this is what I ended up with. The system is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not even running the fans at its lowest setting. The pumps are pretty much at their lowest setting just because, like, both of those D-Phis when they're running are loud as fuck, and it just creates a massive turbulent noise in the background and makes you really appreciate closed back headphones. Now, I know one of the frequently asked questions I'm going to get is, why did you use like regular rigid copper tubing for your, you know, plumbing? And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one is it's cheap as fuck. Honestly, seriously, it's really cheap. When you look, even the cost of like regular copper piping, when you compare that with, I don't know, acrylic or PETG, it pretty much comes out to be the same price, if not cheaper. And also, these 90s, these elbows are cheap. You could get a pack of 10 of these at the Home Depot for like $5. 10 of them. Like, go price out one of these fittings and it comes out to be like 20 of these. So yeah, you know, it adds up really quick. There are a lot of copper 90s in this whole loop. And it comes with its consequences as well. You can't really see it this much from here, but let's see. There's a little bit of a dog leg bend that I had to make in that little pipe right there, and kind of looks like ass. Additionally, I had to gob a little bit of epoxy on that joint right there. I really wish this camera wouldn't do stupid shit when it tries to focus, but it does, and that's the way she goes. Additionally, this pipe right here, you can't really see it too well, but yeah, that one leaked profusely. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like sweat these pipes when I put them together. I used red Loctite. It's a type of Loctite that's specifically, you know, made for, you know, putting things together like that. Yeah, in general, like, I'm kind of kicking myself for going with Intel on this build because AMD, when I bought all these parts, Intel was kind of still somewhat competitive. And the whole, like, 13th and 14th gen degradation issues weren't, like, a thing that were well known back then by the community. So, yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of just is what it is. I'm locked into this platform, and I did update the BIOS and the microcode for, you know, 14th gen and such. So the CPU hopefully won't degrade into sand anytime soon. However, with that new microcode, I lost like probably 5% of my total system performance. This thing, with all of this cooling, runs slower than it did on air with that single 140 Noctua cooler. You know, what do you do? I don't know. At least I can overclock my GPU. My GPU is actually maxed out in terms of overclocking. I could flash a BIOS to the card and make it to where I can actually increase the power limit even further, but I really don't feel like I need to. Again, I'm only running a 1440p panel, and I really just don't think that's necessary. I maxed out the power limit already on it. It only gets up to like 50 degrees at absolutely full tilt. Like, I was running this thing on Time Spy, and I actually maxed out my power limit before I actually, you know, got this thing to crack 60 Celsius. So yeah, it's not a very hot card, not a very hot running card. And again, I apologize, I'm not really showing a whole lot with this system. I just kind of got bored doing that multi-part series, and it was a lot of trouble to film all the crap that, you know, I did. But, you know, that's how it all worked out in the end, and this is the end result, and I hope you like it. You know, if you got questions, you know, leave them down in the shit talking section. I'll try to answer them, as long as you're not being a total dick, you know. And that's pretty much all there is to this video, and I'm gonna cut it off here.